Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are back on K2-Born on the external analysis series in strategy, and maybe you saw that there was a topic on the world is flat, and right now it would be exactly the opposite, as in the sense that maybe the world is not as flat as it looks like, according to Friedman. And here we're going to focus on the CAGE framework that was based on Pankaj Ghemawat, the youngest ever faculty at Harvard Business School. So, what does it look like? Well, first we're going to look first about the premises on which Ghemawat created the CAGE framework. Then an issue concerning the theory concerning it and how it's look like. An example to show that Ghemawat is at least partially right, and not to say fully right. And just a wrap up, just to be sure that you understood all the concept. Okay, so let's start. So here is the book, Redefining Global Strategy, in which Ghemawat mentioned this framework for the first time. And basically, the issue is just to say, hey, if we consider the level of internationalization across industry, what happened? First, in terms of population, you can see that still a minor part of immigrants compared to the total population. The vast majority of phone call revenue, well, they don't come from international. Management research, it's mainly based on some local territoriality. Direct investment, only a minor part of total investment. Private charity, small part of total charity. Management cases, well, they come, vast majority of them are based on US, or if Spanish business school would look at from Spain, French from French cases from French business school, and so on. Patent, about same issue. Portfolio investment, same as foreign direct investment, and trade a bit more, but it's still pretty low. So even if some opportunity may arise from any point in the world, it seems that there's still some economy of agglomeration. I mean that it will there are more opportunities, that same opportunity arise and become implemented with success if you have some regions and the rest. So this is basically what Ghemawat says, and in that sense it explains why Silicon Valley is more successful than any other region in the world, for instance. Okay, so if we apply it, just to avoid using the Silicon Valley example, because it's quite an obvious one, we're going to move first to give a global explanation of the framework. Then we're going to have an example on a retailer, on a Spanish retailer. Okay, so first, CAGE stands for cultural, administrative distance, geographic distance, and economic distance. And according to, let's say, to explain the first one, cultural distance, when you've got some common past, common religion, common metrics, etc., etc., it's much easier to develop some trade. On the other hand, if there's an insularity, it will be much more difficult to share some issues. Administrative distance will be based on the way administrative was set up. If you are part of the same regional bloc, if you got the same currency, if you got same friends, or by opposition, same enemy, this will create another distance. Then it will be if you share some physical border, if you are, I mean, it's easier to share some link with, let's say, with English than with Australian for the French, due to all this distance that they have together. They've got the same climates, they've got the same disaster. Many British came from Normandy. Many British comes on vacation in France, you've got lots of French that are crazy about UK. They don't like each other for all these issues because you can have roast beef and the frogs. But globally saying, you can have some issue together. And last but not least, the economic distance maybe is the most obvious one in this framework. Is that obviously if you have I just said reverse on all of this stuff. If you get same income, same labor costs, same issues, basically it would be far easier to have some trade. Okay, and by opposition, it will be more difficult to move into it. Okay, so these are some example linked with the CAGE framework, and what we are going to do now is we're going to apply it to Spanish retailers. I told you, Mercadona. It's quite quite interesting case because it's a small Spanish company that has been able to fight the master of the university of the universe of its sector, supermarket, and they're doing it pretty well. So just to show it using the CAGE framework, what happened? Sorry. First, you need to understand that they were able to diagnose much before their the other competitor that they should focus on middle-sized and urban super instead of super far supers that are out of the city. And they understand much better the Spanish habit because they were able to diagnose, for instance, some special issues for celiacs much before than any other company. So these are two elements, but maybe the strongest fact and the reason why they really got the boom everywhere in Spain is that in the middle of the Spanish crisis, they deliver a really strong message to all the providers. They say we only want the two best references. One is ours, and the other one is the best in terms of rotation, and that's it. And for Unilever, Procter & Gamble, Danone, well, companies that are trying to impose a huge percentage of all their brands, this was, a really tough issue. And they wanted to say, hey, we're not here to make lots of margin. What we want is we want you to deliver the best price, and not to deliver the full portfolio. And this was an amazing success. You got plenty of people, as soon as they know that they've got the Mercadona coming near their home, it's just fantastic. Look, and right now, if you can go to see one of their competitor, and what they put is that, hey, ticket saver, compared to what the cost of their basket if they had gone to Mercadona. Imagine it. So this is cultural, administrative issue. Well, they took benefit of the fact that the Spanish government wanted to keep local players in that field, keeping in mind that Spain is a country that is pretty strong in the agricultural field, and last but not least, they've got a good understanding of urban planning and organization of Spanish cities, because what they want to do is that to have plenty of small store around the flat. They don't want to they just want to recreate what they say in Spanish, el pueblo, the village, in plenty of cities. And this provides lots of common area. It's much more friendly among people. Okay, so but they understood it much before their competitor. Right now, for instance, just to mention foreign competitor, you can see that Carrefour has decided to create some much smaller concept to fit in the Spanish reality. Okay, Auchan is trying to, but even later. Okay, so just some example, and Walmart doesn't manage to make it at this point in Spain. Okay, so And why don't they make it at Walmart? Because from a geographic distance, they cannot have some economies of scale. This is basics. And when you look at it, and when you say, hey, how is it possible that a company based in Valencia in Spain can deliver such a good product with low price? Well, pretty simple. They've got lower overheads. That's the basics. Okay. So, as a conclusion, what can we say? If it's true that the world is coming flatter, okay, we cannot say the opposite. You've got always more opportunity in many countries. So as the number of global 2,000 companies is increasing from plenty of countries. So this is something that cannot be denied at 100%. Nevertheless, it's important to say that industrialized countries keep the grand majority of opportunities. And in that sense, Gemawat is right to remind it to us. Now, it's true that when you say the world is flat, they say, everybody listening to you. This is a much sexier message that's saying that a cage framework, it's not so great. Now you can say you got the image of the cage, and even if you wanted to make it flatter, the cage has a form of the wall in that sense, and you got the birds that would like to go out but cannot. Okay, so this is nice as a metaphor. The fact is, the tool that has been improved over time is still improvable. Okay, and this is the reason why Friedman is much more well known than Gemawat on this aspect. When we consider other aspects of competition, Gemawat has done apportations that are huge. And if you haven't seen them, I recommend you to pay some attention to it. Okay, so let's focus on competition on Gemawat as well, and you'll see that this is a great point. Hope to see you soon on K2Born with Tanguy Jacopin. Bye.